This is a guide on how to run Airlink at 960 Mbps. So what is Airlink anyways? I'm gonna let Meta explain it.
Quest Airlink wirelessly connects your headset to your PC, so you can play PC VR games on your Quest.
And this is the minimum requirements, blah 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 blah.
Make sure the software on both your Quest PC app and headset are up to date. If possible, having a dedicated Wi-Fi router for Airlink gaming can improve your performance. You can also limit the number of devices on the network to allow more bandwidth for Airlink.
What you will need. You're gonna need either a Quest 3 or Quest Pro and above. You're also gonna need a dedicated Wi-Fi 6E router. So a Quest 2 and below is not gonna work. Also, a Wi-Fi 6 router and below is not gonna work. I have tested this and the bandwidth is just not enough. Even though the channel is 160, there's just not enough headroom to get a stable latency. As you can see here, I'm using a Wi-Fi 6 channel with 160 and the latency is just terrible and it's spiking all over the place. It is not recommended to use a Wi-Fi 6 router. So yes, this is an Airlink tutorial, but I'm sure someone's gonna say, what about virtual desktop? Alright, here are the key differences. As of fall 2023, why you could use Airlink and virtual desktop. Note, these are two different apps and they both have their pros and cons. So there's no winner, it's up to you and which one you want to use. Before we start, there's a big but to using Airlink. Airlink lies about their numbers. So when you put in 960, it's not going to be 960. As you can see here, this is definitely below 960. I'm using a Windows Task Manager to monitor the bitrate coming in. So Airlink bitrate numbers normally go like below the suggested number that you put in, compared to virtual desktop, which does not lie about this. The other thing they lie about is also their latency numbers. This one is surprising because based on me and some other users' personal experiences, the latency numbers on Airlink shows pretty high numbers, but it doesn't feel like it's high at all. It feels a lot lower and sometimes even feels smoother than virtual desktop, to be honest. So they lie about all the numbers basically, even if it's not in their favor. And definitely the latency on Airlink feels smoother than the numbers that are being shown. So why would I need a high bitrate? What's the point of this whole thing, right? So the key differences are the compression and the clarity. It's how sharp it looks and how much compression you see. So the higher the bitrate, the less compression you see. So this is a through the lens comparison that I took briefly. You have to try this for yourself to see it. You can't just rely on images or videos. You will see the difference between 200, 500, 800, 900. This one is captured through ADB USB capture. So it's taking a USB capture of the headset itself. So this is not through any phone or camera comparisons. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you set up Airlink at a high rate? So you're going to need a dedicated Wi-Fi 6E router. So I'm not going to go through how to set it up because there are lots of tutorials online on how to set up a dedicated router. But basically you need to connect it router to this, and this router needs to be only for your Quest. This is why it's called dedicated. Make sure it's plugged into the right LAN Ethernet ports and you'll be good to go. Another thing about this dedicated router is it needs to be in the same room as your Quest, so it can't be too far away and you need to keep it close to get a good signal. Firstly, there are two methods on your PC. So there are two ways of doing this. The first one is to use Oculus-Debug tool. You can find it here under Oculus-Diagnostics, Oculus-Debug tool. So these are my settings I use for 960. Video codec on H.264. Slice encoding on. The width resolution is depending on your headset and your PC and how powerful it is. So you can change it depending on how much your PC can take. For me, I put about 4000-ish. This one, make sure it's off. Disabled encode dynamic bitrate. And this is where the magic happens. Encode bitrate. So this is a stupid bug that Oculus hasn't fixed yet. You have to launch Notepad, type in the number you want, 960 or whatever number you want, 800. 960 is the max you can go on Debug tool. Copy it, Ctrl C, paste it, Ctrl V. That's the only way you can do it for this tool so far. It's a bit stupid, I agree. Now 960 is the max, but you don't have to play at 960. You can play at 850, which is what I like to play at when I'm on Airlink. Or you can go lower, you can go to 500. This is up to you. I posted a latency video that shows how much latency you get for each bitrate. So you can take a look at the video, I'll put it in the description, and then you can choose based on that if the latency really bothers you. And blink sharpening, I like using quality, it looks better for me, but some people prefer disabled. Up to you, you can try it out. Disable mobile ASW, and that's about it. The rest is up to you, but this is the base settings that I use. So the second method is to use Oculus Tray tool. You can download it here. Download the latest version. Press download. Okay. Once you're done installing it, you can launch Oculus Tray tool. Some people call it OTT. You can adjust a lot of things in this tool, it's quite useful. What you need to do for this particular thing is go down to Quest link, and here you can choose what bitrate you want to use. So the max you can go is 960, and just press save and you're done. Make sure encode dynamic bitrate is disabled, and you're done basically. Press save, and this thing will close to your Windows, and you can just leave it on and it will stay persistent whenever you reboot your PC. Okay, next up is your Wi-Fi router settings. So the biggest thing you have to do is turn this into AP mode. That means it's a dedicated router. So go to access point, and so make sure it's not wireless and make sure it's under access point. Click on that, and this will turn your router into a dedicated router. So settings wise, disable the other 2.4 and 5 GHz channels. You can keep it on, but it's better to disable them. And make sure your channel width is 160. PSC is optional, I keep it on. Okay, this is the big one, the major one that affected me for a long time. Do not put it on auto. Pick different channels. Choose one that works for you. For me, the highest one works the best performance wise, but if you go lower, it connects better to your Quest. Pick and choose a few different channels and see which one works best for you. Additionally, go to your beacon interval and change it to 50. Okay, next up, go on your headset, go to Wi-Fi, and then pick the 6 GHz channel. So you can tell that it's Wi-Fi 6E when you click on the frequency and it says 6 GHz. So this is the correct channel you want to be on. So the thing about Wi-Fi 6E is the strength is not very strong. The range isn't as strong as Wi-Fi 6. So don't go too far from your router. This is an unfortunate side effect. I think Meta is working on a fix right now to make the range better, so we'll wait and see. Next up, launch Airlink. It will lag a little bit at first. It takes a second for the network to stabilize. Next up, go to your link settings. Make sure you put it on fixed, and just to be safe, push it all the way to the end here. This really doesn't matter, but you want to push it all the way just in case. The main thing that matters is it's on fixed bitrate. So when you're in your PC, you can see all your Oculus settings here. I keep mine at the max render resolution, but this is up to you and how your PC handles it. So the cool thing is, even when you're in Airlink, you can launch the Tray tool or the Debug tool, and you can just change your bitrate on the go. So let's say I want to go to 850, just press save, and it automatically does it. Say I want 700, just press save, and there you go. Same thing, you can do this for debug tool while you're in Airlink. So you see it automatically applied 700 to the bitrate here. Tray tool does that. Okay, if you tried everything and it still doesn't work, you can always use a Faraday box, which is basically a box wrapped with aluminum foil, and it helps to push the Wi-Fi signal in a direction towards you. I mean, this is like a Hail Mary, like nothing else works, then you can try this.